Hey y'all, this is First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsay Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
And on this fourth episode, we are concluding our 3-part series on teamwork.
So listen up.
Let's go. We got part 3 of teamwork. First of all, we have a special guest on this episode.
Yes, we do.
Shine Major Jackson is here. He is currently chomping down on a teething biscuit. So if you hear something in the background, that's him. He's sharing his love. Okay?
His podcast debut.
Yes. Yes. So that's what's going on. No nap time right now. It's shine time. But moving forward, let's continue our series on teamwork. Okay, this is part 3. And the first one was communication. The second one was your assignment. Mm-hmm. And this third one we have is chemistry. So, baby, what is chemistry? And tell me more about what you think about chemistry.
So, chemistry is the connection between two people or a group of people. It doesn't matter. And it's kind of like the glue that makes a team go from good to great, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like chemistry is. It's hard really to describe, but I know it when I see it and I know it when I feel it, type of thing.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of different dance partners, so I would think that maybe, I'm not going to speak for you, but maybe that would be one of the things I like. Because some people just work well with.
Right.
Could you have told me, like, that's a good partner?
Right.
That's a good partner.
No, it's true. When I think of chemistry, when I think of chemistry, I think of more like a seamless, easy connection, and you use the word connection, and so it's still work. Like, we still have to practice and we still have to say, okay, let's do this, and there's the communication there. So that goes back to step 1, communication, but it's a little bit less work, if you will. So yeah, it's indescribable, but I've had partners that were good. I've had partners that were good, like you've had coworkers. It's like, oh, that's a good coworker. And then sometimes your coworker becomes your friend. Yeah. Because it's just like, man, we work so well together. That was seamless. And same thing with partners. Like, I mean, you lifted me up, and we didn't even have to talk about maybe how we're gonna plie on one and go up. We just did it together, and that's the kind of connection that you're talking about when we're talking about like dance partners and that type of chemistry.
So there's different type of chemistry, mm-hmm. And there's the romantic one.
Physical chemistry.
The physical.
Which, when you say chemistry, that's the first thing that I thought of when we were talking about it. Because people often think like, okay, well, love needs to start with physical chemistry. Mm-hmm. Like, I need to be physically drawn to this person, attracted to this person, and desiring this person physically first. And what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it happens a lot in TV shows and movies. It's like, oh, did you have sex with him yet? Because you don't know if you're compatible, or you don't know if it's good in bed and stuff like that. And you don't know if you have that chemistry. And so I do understand that part. But us being married, I feel like it's more than the physical. Like,
okay, but go back. Do you understand that part? Somebody's saying, did you have sex with her yet?
I understand somebody wanting to make sure that they have that connection.
Okay.
That's what I understand.
Okay.
So, like...
but if your kisses are connection, then why wouldn't you have that same connection in the bedroom?
They could be different. They could be a good kisser.
Okay.
You could be a good kisser. So that was romantic.
So that's physical chemistry.
Yeah,
right?
That's physical, romantic. Okay. And then there's intellectual, where you're just on like the same playing field. It almost reminds me of Hamilton, the musical.
Yeah.
How it was the Schuyler sister and Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Like, they both got each other on an intellectual. They were writing letters to each other even though they weren't together. Mm-hmm. What was her name?
Angelica, Eliza,
and Peggy. Which one did he marry?
He married Eliza.
So it was Angelica. So him and Angelica, if you've never seen it,
this is not a Hamilton spot.
Yeah, just go to Disney Plus and watch Hamilton. But Angelica was the older sister, and they didn't end up like being together, but they were like writing each other letters, and they had a connection, but they couldn't have a romantic.
They had an intellectual connection.
They had an intellectual connection. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like. I have a couple of people like Davin, who, I mean, he's way smarter than me, but we like get each other when it comes to like coming up with ideas for scripts and stuff like that. We get each other like that. Mm-hmm. So there's a connection that way. And then my favorite connection is the emotional one, the one where I'm my most comfortable. I don't feel judged or anything. I'm just like, when I'm here, I'm home. When I'm with you, I'm home. Yeah. I'm relaxed. And I have that connection with you. I actually have all three with you, which is great. We got the trifecta, y'all, which makes us so good at what we do.
It's the great team that you're talking.
Yeah,
good
we're a
versus
great team.
Great. Good versus great.
Yeah, we're a great team. And it's the emotional that I really... Emotional is that vulnerability without judgment, without feeling some type of way. Because Lindsay and I talk about this a lot, probably off the pod, but being on in person, like being in a public spotlight, being knowing that you're being seen, is different from just doing your everyday life. Like, we don't consider ourselves celebrity by any means, but we do know that people are watching us. And one of the reasons we started this podcast is because even in our small group, people looked at us, looked at our relationship. So to know that you're being watched is one thing, but just to be yourself. And I can be myself and be watched, and I can be myself and relax and just like not worried about being watched. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get, it's very clear.
So that's what the emotional connection is, and I feel like that is probably the one that has a lot more longevity.
Yes.
Than any of the other
physical.
Yeah.
Than the intellectual.
It's always good to be home.
Yeah.
But which one do you like the most? Or do you have another chemistry that I didn't mention? Because I mentioned 3.
Let me think about it. So I like the emotional chemistry as well. And I think that that's probably why we work so well together. If I could say and look back to us in the beginning, was it the physical chemistry? No, it wasn't. Intellectual chemistry, no. Yeah, it's emotional. Like you said, it's being comfortable, being at home and having that connection where I can be myself. And, you know, you hear this all the time about being best friends with the person that you're with. Be friends first. Be best friends first. And it's true. Like, we would talk for hours, or I would talk for hours, and you would listen. But the difference between love and like your person first and continue to like them, and then the love is there. So that emotional chemistry, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, we both like the same one. Of course we would. I would say this, like there are some elements of chemistry that, like, if somebody was trying. So do you think somebody could build chemistry?
Like, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah. Oh, that's your answer?
That's my answer. I answered it straight off the bat. Wow. You either have it or you don't. I think that you can work together. I think that I've seen relationships, and I talked about this before, personal relationships in my life, that I have seen people are together and they're making it work. And that's great. That's fantastic. But you can tell that's not chemistry, and that's not effortless. And so it might be a situation where it's, a talked about situation, like, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to build our life. And that's good, because people are built to be together. There's a companionship there that people want. But I think the chemistry is, you got it
Oh, you don't?
Or you don't?
I feel like that chemistry could be built.
You can build chemistry. Authentic chemistry.
Like, I know there's certain elements, like I was going to say, like respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some type of mutual respect when it comes to chemistry, but that's in all partnerships, right?
Yep.
And then with the respect, also a certain level of trust, because one thing that I like outside of like romantic relationship, when I'm working with somebody and I have a good chemistry with them, I kind of know them. I know their moves. I know they got whatever that project is handled, you know? So I pick up my part of the slack, and then they pick up their part of the slack. And I really think that those things, like the respect and the trust, can build something where I'm doing no look passes, right? Because I know you're going to be there, type of thing. So I think that you could build it. It's just kind of hard to, once you lose trust, it's hard to build it back. And once you lose respect, it's really hard to bring that back. Mm-hmm. So try to give trust and give respect off the back. But there are situations like, say I was going for a promotion and then they promote somebody else, and I have to work with that person. I might not have the same respect as I should with another person, because I'm like, I should have had that job, right? So then chemistry is already kind of messed up, and I'll have to rebuild because I wanted that job, or I felt like I was the right person for that job. So I do feel like chemistry could be built, but that natural chemistry is, you said the word effortless. It's effortless. Yeah. And it's good. One more question before we go on break. Do you feel like you can lose chemistry in a relationship? You can't build it. You already said you can't build it back up.
Right.
So what happens, or do you feel like that chemistry can be lost?
Okay, because we kind of broke down the chemistries, the 3 different chemistries, I do think that you can lose physical chemistry. I think that people change physically, and that's the first thing to go. That's the first attraction most of the time, and that's also the first thing to go, just because you're not going to stay the same. I don't care how gorgeous you are, you're not going to stay the same. So if it's based off of the physical, yeah, you can lose chemistry. I think it has to be rooted in something more. So can you lose chemistry?
Welcome to the Am I Wrong segment of First Comes Love podcast. I am Aaron Jackson, the host of this segment, and today we are going to talk about my hair. So, I've had braids like a full year now, and I usually go to my homegirl Red. She's super dope, and I pay her various amounts of money. Because she's my homegirl, she doesn't really have a real price, but I try to break it off. Anyways, during the pandemic, Lindsay just goes out of the blue, I could braid your hair, and she has braided my hair for the last 3 times.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times. And it looks nice, and I like it. And I actually really enjoy her braiding my hair because it's an intimate time together. Am I wrong? Shouldn't she have been braiding my hair a long time ago? Like, I didn't even know she could braid hair until she was just like, mind you, I have seen her braid her own hair. After she washes her hair, she does like 2 big braids with her locks. But I didn't know that she could cornrow at all. And I didn't know that she could cornrow my hair. We could have saved about
hundreds,
maybe thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So, am I wrong? Shouldn't have Lindsay stepped up and braided my hair beforehand, before when we needed it in the pandemic? Okay, Go.
I'm just gonna say one thing, y'all. I can do anything. I am a super woman, okay? So, yes, he knew I could braid, and
I hate you just going to tell me. No, I did not know she could braid.
He didn't know I could braid decent,
and my family found out that she braided my hair, and they said, Liz, you could braid? Exactly.
You see, y'all? Doubting my skills.
So tell me if, yes, Shine. I know, I'm right. So tell me if I'm right, like Shine just did. You can call the voicemail at 347-TRUE-LOVE. That's 347-878-5683.
You can DM us, First Comes Love, TCM on Instagram, or you can email us at letstalk@firstcomeslove, Welcome back, y'all. We are still talking about chemistry. And when we think about chemistry, I also think about compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's kind of differentiate the two.
Yes.
Compatibility.
Compatibility faces chemistry.
Yes.
Because it's like a Tinder date, right? Like you both, I don't know, I don't have Tinder. But isn't like you swipe left, you swipe, if you both swipe the same way, then
you're compatible.
You're compatible. But
you're saying combat and I'm saying compat.
Compatible.
Okay, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, compatible.
Yes.
Like we like the same things. We enjoy the same, we grew up together type of thing. These are all compatible things.
Right. Things that you check off the list. Okay, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, does he go to church? Yeah, he goes to church. Does
age.
Age.
Maybe it's more of like a type. Like that is your type, then you're compatible.
Okay. But it could be like, I like Star Wars, you like Star Wars. I like sports, you like sports. Those are things that I can see people going out on a date because of. And those are really good things. Those are very good, foundational things.
Mm-hmm.
It don't make chemistry though. Like I could see a woman who is attractive and she likes the same things as me and we're super compatible, but there's a difference between that and having a spark, right? There are people who I play basketball with and they are really good. You know, they can shoot the ball, they could dribble, they could rebound, they could do all those things, but we just play different ways. There's different styles. There's a different, I think I said last episode or 2 episodes, I was like, Lindsay and I are the same, but we're different. Yes. Like we kind of grew up the same. We both grew up in black households, and but then there's different styles. Just like there's different kinds of churches. Right, they still believe in Jesus and God, but they practice different ways. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like compatibility is the end all be all. You know? Mm-hmm. So what would I rather have? I'd rather have chemistry. Yeah. I'd rather be incompatible and have chemistry than compatible and have no spark.
But see, I've always heard, spark fades. You ever heard that?
Yeah, some sparks fade, but then other sparks turn into wildfires. You know what I mean? So I'd rather be a wildfire.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, I feel like us, when we first started dating, and this is a long time ago, we weren't really that compatible. We weren't into the same things. You were deadly focused on dance and stuff like that. Like I mean
deadly.
Yeah. Like,
good Lord.
It was dance or death. Oh. What are you thinking? So we didn't have a lot in common.
Yeah, that's true.
But
you're right.
It's that something, and that something can push us forward because compatibilities change. Which
is really interesting because, when you set people up, right? You have single friends out there and they're like, you'd be really good for so-and-so, right? Because they're talking about compatibility. They're like, oh, you both like the same things. Oh, you know who you should meet? You should go. Yeah. And so that is interesting because then it doesn't work. And you're like, nah, that brother's not for me. You know?
Yeah. But sometimes it does work. I'm not saying that sometimes it doesn't work. But which one would you rather have? Let's not even talk about like romantic relationships. Let's talk about a friendship, right?
Yes. That's tough because sometimes chemistry, I would say with women especially, it kind of can look like competition if we are too compatible or if there's too much chemistry. Like I have met other women that I'm like, oh my gosh, we like the same brand, we kind of do the same thing, we got the same drive, like we should be sisters, like we should be best friends. And it did not work.
Oh.
So I mean, so I don't know. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Like one year I went to this thing. They had my birthday's in June. And so they had a June birthday event. And so you get your own like party or whatever. Everybody gets different bottle service if your birthday's in June. And so I went with my friends and I did not have a good time because I didn't feel as unique as I usually feel on my birthday. I didn't feel like super special. It was just like, oh, everybody's like to me, too much compatibility takes away the uniqueness of me, right? Some people might say that us being so compatible is unique and that's our uniqueness. But I feel like I like having some differences as long as I have this working relationship, this spark.
Right.
You know, that sets me apart, but also I'm not individual, but also we work well together and we could thrive. So, like I said, I will always choose chemistry, having that feeling, that working together, that it factor.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that it factor in a relationship than
checking off the boxes.
Yeah, checking off the boxes that we just have the same thing in common.
I agree. I'm with you.
So that's that was number 3. That concludes our series. Do you have anything that you wanted to go deeper on?
Teamwork. We talked about communication, assignment, and chemistry. Can you have 2 out of 3? You know how sometimes we talked about this, like when you're working, a good employee can have like 2 out of the 3 qualifications and they're a good employee.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Having 2 out of 3 to make a great team. Yeah. No. Because you can have everybody knows their assignment and then everybody can have like good chemistry, but if they're not communicating properly, like they all work together.
Right.
If you communicate properly and you have good chemistry, but everybody's doing different assignments,
you don't get the job done.
They don't know their role, then you're not going to get the job done. So I feel like all 3 are like pillars to build what needs to be built when it comes to teamwork.
Okay. I can see that. I feel like as long as you have good, effective communication, you could work on the other 2. But that's just me.
Yeah, that is you. Because, well, okay, I'm not going to go back and forth.
What?
Because communication is the most major one. If you don't have communication, you ain't got nothing.
Right.
Nothing. You ain't got nothing. And you can do it probably without chemistry. Like I said, chemistry makes a good team great, right? So you could, out of the 2 or the 3, you could do you could do the communication and knowing your role, knowing your assignment, right? Having the same goal. And you don't necessarily have chemistry. But I feel like chemistry helps with longevity.
Yeah.
So I feel like all three is essential. You can do it, but is also what the goal is. If the goal is long term or short term.
Right. Yeah. So there we have it. Thank y'all for joining us on our 4th episode, part 3 of teamwork, building a strong, solid, excellent team. We talked about communication, we talked about knowing the assignment, and we talked about chemistry. Please hit us up and tell us what you think. Like, tell us if we're missing something, because there's many layers, many aspects of a teamwork. So maybe, obviously not missing something, but maybe what's most important to you? What makes your teamwork a great team? You can DM us on Instagram, First Comes Love, TCM.
You can call the voicemail at 347-TRUE-LOVE. That's 347-878-5683.
Or you can email us, let's talk at firstcomeslove, thenComesMarriage.com. See you next Friday.